Here is an absolutely typical situation for most multiplayer shooters. The enemy is defending a point and your team needs to somehow infiltrate and capture the position. There are several options. Go in with a flash grenade, use a fragmentation grenade, try to shoot head-to-head, or if it's an FPS with special abilities, use those abilities. Either way, the task is focused on destroying the enemy, otherwise defeat. But just one additional option fundamentally changes everything: total destructibility. The Finals is a new first-person shooter from Swedish studio Embark Studios, and many members of the development team are former Battlefield developers. The sound designer worked on BF, producer worked on BF, studio president, former EA president, and the Finals game director left DICE in 2018. If you thought the game looked a lot alike, well, there are some similarities indeed. The shooting physics are strongly reminiscent of Battlefield. The animations are quite in the style of the series. Even the kill sound is from BF1. What a juicy k-ting! Just love it. In the fall of 2023, the project was first opened for everyone to try out an open beta. And what do you think? Online counter broke through the ceiling and flew into the stratosphere. And it would seem, what is there to discuss? The developers of a great series did what they always did, but under a different flag. Cool fights with crazy action moments, I mean, with the explosions and the destructibility. Battlefield is dead, long live the Finals! But the catch is that the Finals is closer not to this, but to this, maybe this, and of course this. And that's why the Finals is one of the most breakthrough shooters of the last 5 years. Strong statement. Why did destructibility suddenly put the game in the top of the tops? A lot of developers did the same thing. In single player there was Red Faction Guerrilla, in multiplayer there was Battlefield Bad Company. If you want tactics, then get Rainbow Six and enjoy tactical destructibility. Indeed, all of these games allow you to destroy things. Except that Battlefield is hard to call a tactical shooter. The team size of 32, much less 64 people, negates individual people's investment in team results almost entirely. Imagine defending a point that is being attacked by an Abrams, a couple of little birds and a bunch of red icons, and you have nothing in your pocket but a first aid kit. Okay, you can get as many as 4 people together and be a mighty proud 1/8 of the team? Rainbow Six case is more interesting. There are only 5 players in a team, and the destructibility, also it doesn't allow you to erase the entire map, nevertheless opens up a ton of tactical possibilities. There you can shoot someone through a hole in the wall, here you can open a manhole, there are also a lot of different heroes to choose from. But the games are very different in terms of pacing. In Siege you can run and try to maneuver around the map. In the Finals, you have to do it. In short, you can compare Finals to other shooters ad infinitum, and you'll find overlaps between many. The question is, how did Embark Studios mix the tactical elements of Rainbow Six Siege into the atmosphere of total chaos from Battlefield? This is one of the first trailers for the Finals. If you haven't seen the whole video, you should. The editing, the sound, very cool production. Someone is running, shooting, then grabs the box, everything explodes, sledgehammer, commentator screams. Are buildings can be destroyed this way in the game? Well, didn't understand a thing and really want to play it. These are my thoughts during the first watch. And this video is 100% describes what the Finals is. First of all, what is this cube and how do the coins fit in? This, my friend, is the main game mode. The core is as follows. A cube appears on the map, this one, and several teams of 3 people fight for possession of the cube. The cube is a vault. The vault must be delivered to one of the cash-out stations. As soon as the cube is in ATM, the timer starts. Of course, capture can be intercepted by another team. The one who held the ATM at the moment the countdown is over takes cash. You get the required amount of money, you win the match. That's it. From the lore perspective, it's a cybersport virtual tournament. Players connect, probably to the Matrix, then they are loaded onto one of the maps with a reference to the real place, and various modifiers are added. Day or night can be turned on, gravity can be tweaked, big rubber ducks can be suspended from the ceiling, and so on. A very good idea was to cut the violence out of the game, there is no blood in the finals, and to not limit yourself from adding different locations and skins. Commentators are commenting on actions of the players, the stands are throwing their support. Cybersport, after all. The commentators, by the way, are voiced with AI. Write in the comments if you, like me, haven't noticed that. Cube dragging is the main dish of the game. Though not the only one, there is more game modes here. But it is the main dish that initiates total destruction better than other modes. And the mode works very simply. It forces teams to reach a specific object as quickly as possible. And how to accomplish this? You can't fly here, so let's break the walls. This simple idea generates absolutely amazing situations, when the action is not spread thinly across the map, as in BF 2042, but is concentrated in one point, where everything starts to explode, fall and crackle. And by everything, I mean literally everything, right down to the station where the safe is inserted. A round might start on the third floor, then someone breaks through the ceiling and everything shifts one down. A minute later, the support structure of the building collapses and the structure goes under the slope. Meanwhile, the wall slides to the window with the flower pot. But what about level design? How can you create a balanced map for a game where everything can be destroyed? The answer is, you have to force the player to become a level designer himself. It's not a clue to the advertisement, but one of the main elements of the finals gameplay. Initially, the locations in the game do not seem to be anything unusual. There are a lot of houses with half-empty rooms, corridors with rare posters on the walls, and common streets of different cities. The locations are quite easy to navigate, as all similar objects are no different inside. And you always know that on the roof of the 4-story house, for example, there is a window to the attic, from which you can go down a wooden ladder and enter the room. Also, the game doesn't shy away from stringing ropes around buildings, laying out tramplines in the streets, and offering more complex travel mechanisms, like elevators or goddamn rotating construction crane. Also, there is no minimap here, but it is not difficult to move around even without knowing the area by heart, and without destroying walls. Location in finals is a bare canvas, which is covered with multicolored paints during the match, just like Splatoon, only if instead of colors there were grenade launchers. And how actually to break things? For this purpose, there are different gadgets and abilities in the game, which are spread between 3 classes: light, medium and heavy. Characters differ in height, amount of health, and the list of available brushes. The light class specializes in eliminating enemies. It is difficult to tear down a wall while playing a light class, but you can run fast, easily slip through ventilation hatches, and deal a lot of damage to enemies. Medium? Well, medium. He can heal and shoot. A little bit of everything. Heavy can't get into the vent, but easily break through the floor or fry enemies with a flamethrower. A team of 3 can have at the same time 3 heavy heroes, or all different ones. There are no restrictions in this regard. However, once the match starts, you can't change class and ability, and you can only replace the selected weapon and gadgets with the one you put in these 4 slots in advance. Also, weapons cannot be customized. If you get an AK, it will only come with the front sight and a 36-round magazine. Okay, back to how to break things. With sledgehammer, explosives, RPG shot, pretty much anything. If the appearance of the weapon hints that it can break a wall, most likely it will do. Ropes, ladders and flower pots can also be destroyed. If you have an original idea how to enter the point or defend it, go ahead. Everything is limited only by your imagination. I also like how the developers motivate players to destroy things through visual design.
We kind of strive to make our arenas very inviting and pristine, but then as you play, you sort of tear them apart with destruction. And I think it's sort of more satisfying to break something that is pristine and colorful than it is to break something that is already worn and broken down.
And indeed, Mirror's Edge style has come in handy here. So to speak, guess what game the Finals designer worked on? Everything is very colorful, scattered with decorative objects and posters with lore details. It's a very nice feeling to blow up such an environment with a rocket launcher. But it would be boring just to break. You can also set gadgets on the map. Need a shield? Place it. Trampoline or rope? Medium class has them. Turret is also available. Due to the fact that the game does not require you to replenish supplies, all consumables regenerate over time. This is a great way to motivate the player to throw grenades and put turrets more often. Which is why you can't take a second firearm into the battle. So the developers decided to distance the Finals even more from traditional shooters and make the players interact more with the map. Goo Gun is the most interesting tool in the Finals. Say a big hello to Prey. Now immersive sims have also come up. Heavy class can use this item to mold bridges between houses, block passageways to a point, make an elevator of their own, and even push objects. All in-game systems works with Goo. Physics pulls popcorns down, fire spreads along the structure. Yes, there is a system of fire spreading along the location. And it's hard to imagine a more convenient tool for creating platforms for movement. Goo can also be deployed on the location with grenades, and one system which we haven't talked about yet. Look, in the Finals you can destroy objects, you can add objects. And there is one missing link in the chain. Right, but can you move objects? As a matter of fact, yes. And not only with the Goo Gun, but also with your hands. A lot of things can be picked up just like the safe. Go to the table, grab it in your hand and throw it around. You can stick a C4 on a stool and throw it toward a point. Do what you want. There are no instructions. Even the reanimation system uses physics. After death, the player turns into a figure and, if necessary, you can throw it aside and revive your teammate in safety. I don't think it's necessary to tell you how the different colored barrels work. Red ones explode, orange ones burns, green ones stink of gas, pink ones spray goo, and so on. What I particularly like about grabbing and throwing objects is how responsibly Embark have approached this system. If you have a trampoline, you can put an object on the trampoline and it will start bouncing. If you put a shield under it, it will bump and fall off. If you launch a red gas tank, the valve comes off and tank will explode in a few seconds. You want to calculate the exact timing of the detonation, launch it, immediately grab back up and throw it again a little later. No one forbids you to do it that way. Also, the valve can be fired off with a machine gun burst. Then, even a balloon lying on the ground can be launched. Put the tank on a trampoline and shoot the valve off in flight. That's what I call a good system, people. The systemic nature of this game is presented, in fact, a lot of places. Even in the sound. Each grenade sounds in its own way. Any event in the round is accompanied by a distinctive signal, and footsteps not only reveal the location of the enemy, but also allow you to understand what class he's playing for. The seemingly chaotic game is actually very insanely systematic. Even the recoil pattern of weapons is locked, as in the most competitive shooters. The problem is that a bunch of people with different goals are simultaneously kicking a small section of the location. Someone defends, someone intercepts a safe, and from the third side comes a squad that tears down the whole building. Game can throw wood on the fire and in the middle of the match, for example, change gravity or start shooting off orbital strikes at everyone who decided to stand still. Systems collapse, giving absolutely insane results and demonstrating the very trailer I showed at the beginning. You plunge headfirst into a thundering mess. Nevertheless, the result of your personal actions always leads to the expected results. That's why it's interesting to play, and you always want to think of a new way to use these systems in your favor. Cybersport atmosphere in the game also turns out to be quite good. You really work hard for the sake of victory. You rejoice when intercepting the vault at the last seconds. You calculate the tactics of breaking into the point while approaching the fight. And it all happens at maximum speeds. No one is lying down, because you can't. No one is hiding in the bushes, because the red outline will brightly distinguish you in any skin. And if some squad was eliminated, they can use a free camera to fly around the object and examine the situation during the countdown. The finals makes destructibility not just a spectacular picture, but offers to use it to win. It gives you a full set of tools to manipulate the world and says, do what you want. The main thing is to accomplish the goal. It creates a ton of original situations in every match. A floor's being breached here, a safe's being seized there. What do we do? Fast, think. That's it. Blow up the floor under the vault and capture will reset due to the fall. Game design forces you to quickly look for an original way to solve the problem. For the sake of it, paradoxically, game restricts you to customize the hero during the match and does not show the minimap. You don't have to follow the familiar road. You don't have to rebuild the same thing for a familiar map. Here's your setup. Think how to use it effectively. And you know, that sounds to me like the description of the first multiplayer immersive sim shooter. Or not the first. There is one game I haven't mentioned in the video yet, but it's strikingly akin to finals. That game is Fortnite. Just like in finals, there is a complex systematicity. Items can float away in the direction of water flow, fire is properly spread around the location, and, most importantly, destructibility also takes a key role in gameplay. Even in terms of pacing, the games are similar. You have to run, jump and make quick decisions. The finals marks not so much the emergence of multiplayer immersive sim shooters, but the gradual displacement of regular ones. I have a hard time playing other FPS after 25 hours in the finals. You can't grab a barrel and blow up a wall with it. The capture point is firmly glued to the floor and doesn't move. There are only 2 teams in a match. Kind of boring. There are more and more projects on the market where the player is offered a new way of looking at the familiar things, to break the wall. But an extremely powerful blow to this wall.